Hi, this is Eve, NFT Eve Hennessy, and I'm here with Inner Sanctum, and he's in Portugal. I'm in Washington, D.C. And
Hello, everyone.
yeah, I forgot to even spotlight myself. For some reason, when I hit speaker, it never spotlights me. I'm always like a little block in the corner. Oh well, I don't, whatever. So, well, let's talk about you then. So you live in Portugal.
Yeah, that's correct. Always been born and living and raised in Portugal.
Nice.
I was from a small rural area in Portugal, which is called Alentejo. It's kind of backwards there for me. It was, at least growing up. I felt very lonely there. I couldn't really express myself creatively because I would be bullied or something like that. So creatively, I was a bit, how would you call it? I couldn't really let it out because I was afraid of what of people judging me. But recently, I decided to get back to it because of two people in my life, actually.
Mhm.
One of the persons is my girlfriend. She does cosplay, and I started doing cosplay with her, which is pretty cool. I really like it. It's hard work, but it's very good to get the creative juices flowing, and it kind of lit that flame in me again. And then my housemate is started doing NFTs, and he mentioned it to me. He was like, "Oh, have you ever heard about NFTs? I've been doing some money with it," and I'm like, "Yeah, okay," but I didn't pay too much mind to it until one day he showed me his wallet, and he was actually doing good money, and I was like, dude, you gotta teach me something about that. So eventually we got my wallet set up, we got my OpenSea account set up and all that. And I started to get back into creating. I can say it's easy. It's not. It's a lot of work. It can be a full-time job. Gladly, I would say I am between jobs right now. I quit my old job because I was just fed up with it. And I'm going to start a new job on the 25th. So I'm using the time in between that because I have so much free time right now, I'm using it to create as much as I can.
Amazing.
And at the moment, I have 3 collections. One of them is a surprise, which has not been revealed yet. You got the link to it.
Yeah, I'm going to start pulling up collections because I like to start off with looking at pictures.
All right.
Because, that's really the beauty of YouTube, is that you can talk about it and see it. I'm going to move this down there. Yeah, I'm really into this is your last one that you did, right? This one? Oh, you can't see it.
No, I can. I can. No, that's my
first. Oh, because I'm sharing the screen. Okay, this is your first collection?
Yeah, that's my Genesis collection. I started with the abstract art with the fractals, which is basically use a program that generates random fractals. Something like that you see there. That one was like one of my first. And if you go down into you will see that I get bolder and bolder with my ideas. And and that they start to become a lot more developed.
Oh yeah, that's great. These are great. That's beautiful.
Thank you. And yeah, basically in this program, it gives you something random, and then you can.
So how is the program? That's why I was so curious to interview you. I don't know about these AI generated artworks, which I find amazing, and especially because they're really beautiful looking. So how does it work?
Okay, so basically I started looking for something. I researched online which would be the best way to start. And one program that I found which is called Apophysis, which is free and is open source, I believe. So basically I can use it and sell whatever I create there without having to worry with royalties and stuff like that. So I started that program and experimenting. The first few pieces are very experimental. They're very basic. And then you can see the last few pieces are a lot more developed. They're animated and whatnot. Some are quite heavy, so they will take a while to load.
Yeah, that one don't want to load.
Yeah, I was still getting to know the ropes.
So they start up the newest, are they in chronological order?
Yeah,
So
they
the
are.
top ones are older or newer? Older.
These are the newest one, the older ones. Yeah, sorry.
At the
And if
top,
you scroll
okay.
down, you have the older ones.
But I really like the oldest ones too, are beautiful.
Thank you.
So the machine is making it and then you're like, stop, and you take a picture, or how does it work? Like,
Okay,
that's
so
all I can think of.
so as I was saying, you
That's
get
awesome.
a fractal, right? You get like a random squiggly lines or something. Then you can edit upon those while still on the program. You can zoom, you can change coordinates, you can
And you can edit in that
exactly. Yeah, you can edit within the program.
Wow, it's amazing.
Until you get something that you really like. And then you have to render it. And after I render it, I run it through post-production. For instance, this animated part and the blur, everything else that's done in production, in post-production. So I use another program called Photomosh, which allows me to then do a lot more with the images. Like, and I also many times run them through Facebook. Through Photoshop. To correct a little bit more and
the colors and stuff like that.
And to mix them, for instance, if you can go back into the piece called Embryon, it's the one below. It's that purple one, the third one.
This one?
Yeah, yeah. So this one is 3 different versions of the same fractal, edited in different ways, that I then on Photoshop, I've composited them all together, and this is the end result. And then I did some color correction, some contrast adjustments, etc., and I got the final piece.
It's really gorgeous.
Yeah, but basically what Apophysis does, it runs this mathematical code, and it gives you this random image, and then you do whatever you want with it by slightly changing parameters. And
I want to do it.
then it's up to you, right? Because you then have fractal, and you can just, I don't know, work with just the fractal, or maybe expand beyond it, which is, in the beginning, you can see that I only was working with the fractals, but then I started expanding.
And when you were making the really simple ones, this is what I'm just curious about. Like, so when you're making the simplest form of one, is it like just a screenshot, or, I mean, you can just have the work be completely created by the AI, right? Or not?
So yeah, it's easier per se, let's say.
But
so
it just doesn't, you just don't get like what you want.
Yeah, it just doesn't get much more than that, you know? So if you want to expand beyond that, you're going to need external.
Wow, I really like it. This lighting is just beautiful.
Thank you. So yeah, here I had to use Photoshop, Photomosh, and to get all those final, the animation, the glow. And here also, I think it's 2 or 3 versions of the fractal, and that is differently and composite on top of each other to make it look like this. Someone told me that it looks like a throne, so I gave it the name of Throne of Malice, because it also has some sort of evil energy to it. Because yeah, right, it's kind of dark,
like a haunted house, or
it looks like kind of a cover for a metal album or something. So yeah, that's one of the latest I've done for that collection. I still haven't finished it yet, because I got fascinated with AI, another form of AI, which is generative AI. And with generative AI, what you do is you basically speak kind of to an AI with prompts. Let's say you tell the AI, painting of a beautiful lady, something like that. And then the AI run through a certain amount of iterations, and
Wow.
it will create an image of what the AI believes to be a painting of a beautiful woman.
Does the AI know like your preferences?
No, that's the thing. You need to learn how to talk to it. I spent almost 2 months learning how to talk and researching. And actually, me and my roommate, we kind of unconsciously we kind of made a great team, because I'm more on the practical side, so I practice a lot with it, and he's more on the theoretical side, so he researches and reads a lot. And at night we come together and we talk about it, and we share what we found. And I believe that's what made us grow so fast in terms of understanding the tools to generate that kind of art. You will see in the next few collections that what I'm talking about. Here is still the 2D fractals.
So when you're talking to the AI, is it in that same program? What is it called? Hypothesis? Is it?
No, it's
something
else.
So you're like starting to combine a lot of different programs and platforms together.
The 2D fractals is one thing, and the other is a completely different one. So it's basically two different mediums, I would call them. Yeah, this reminds me of, I don't know, like some sort of sentient being with one eye open that glows or something.
Yeah, it looks like that, and it also looks like the tunnel where you go.
A tunnel, yeah, exactly, or a tunnel.
The light tunnel. Maybe it's a being. Maybe you go into the eye of a being. You know.
Exactly, and you get lost in it.
Yeah, I like your titles too. That's why I whenever I see your work go by, it always catch my eye, and then I always read the title, and I always feel like interesting. Like you were talking about a lot of different things.
Thank you.
A lot going on to talk about, like wormhole. What else? Oh, let's go to the liminal one.
All right.
Or is there another collection you want to look at next?
Yeah, liminal one is fine. Let's go.
Because you know, it's so funny. I'm in the arts, right? You hear this word liminal a lot in artist statements and stuff, and frankly, I don't even know what it means. So I get to find out now.
Okay.
And
so a liminal space is basically an area of passage. For instance, people also call it the back rooms. It's for instance, if you go to a mall and you're walking through the mall, the mall at night when it's empty, it has this weird feeling to it because it's empty, right? And it gives you this weird feeling of nostalgia, but at the same time of being displaced, not being at the right place. It's like being in a different dimension, right? Because you know a mall is always bustling with activity, and when you see a mall that is completely empty, that gives you a real different vibe, and that's what's called the liminal space.
Oh.
So
I wonder where that word comes from, like liminal. Do you know? It's just such an interesting word.
I could research that right now. Liminal. Apparently, it comes from the late 800s. 1800s, sorry, and from Latin, meaning threshold.
Threshold. Okay.
Is the doorway. Liminal is often used to describe the threshold or gateway between two stages. So yeah, it's basically like you're moving from one dimension to another, right? Because you're used to a place like a school, for instance, as well. A school is always brimming with kids and noises and things happening, but at night, there, it's like you're not on this world, right? It's like you've went beyond this dimension. So that's why it's called a liminal space. So I decided to expand upon that idea. That was my first collection with the AI generative So as you can see, none of this was done by hand.
Ah, it's beautiful, but your
All I
colors
did-
are amazing.
Thank you. All I did,
Gorgeous.
speak to AI and tell it, give me a mysterious monument in minimal. So basically the prompts that I used were something like minimalist, sci-fi, mysterious monument, something like that. And then the AI
Wow,
gave me
that is great. I really
Yeah.
I want to do it. I mean, I know like you've worked really hard to get to that point, but I'm like, oh, let's talk to the AI. And that's a really
Yeah.
good thing to say, like a mysterious monument, because it is. It's
Right.
a mysterious monument.
And because it's so empty and it's just exactly, it just gives you this mysterious vibe of what really happens here.
Yeah.
Why it's so empty? But at the same time, why does it give you this feeling of quietness and I don't know, maybe nostalgia, something like that?
Yeah, it's very interesting. And then it has those like liminal spaces. You know, there's like some are transparent, some are look solid. Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like you know, like maybe like, you know, if you know the aliens were creating like a new world in Chernobyl or something, you know. It's like an abandoned place.
It could be, although it is well lit, so maybe it's not
Well, not
abandoned.
totally, because you know somebody's there doing something.
Somebody's there. So I give it the name of Cityscape Temple.
Wow.
I don't know. It feels like a temple to me. Something happens there. This is more of like a shrine.
Oh, yeah.
As you can see, it even has the inscription stone in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is completely recreated by the AI. All I do is provide it with word prompts. But as I said, I had to study a lot to be able to
The
get.
AI drew this picture?
The AI drew this picture.
So you didn't do anything. You didn't change the colors?
No, I just tell the AI what to do. I speak to the AI and tell the AI something like, give me this.
And
then
they know what colors you like, because it has a lot of similarities to the colors before.
That was the objective. I wanted it to be kind of cohesive as the theme.
Oh my God. It's so easy.
So yeah, go on.
No, I'm just saying it's so easy. Like, well, I'm gonna stop painting. It's too much work. Like I just okay, like let's make a series because it's great. I mean, it really is. It's gorgeous and really interesting. Very mysterious.
Yeah.
What did you say for this one?
This one I named it Runic Shrine because I don't know. I think it reminds me of some kind of old, ancient, kind of monolith, and maybe now it's a touristic place, so that's why it has the inscription stone in front of it. But maybe back in time, it was a place for shamans to do ritualistic things, you know. I don't know. I just like to create these ideas in my mind for the pieces and create little stories and interpretations. And I also like to see what other people would interpret from it.
It's fun. You know, I really get what you're saying. Actually feels pretty close, you know, and even that kind of thing looks like those hats, you know, from the ancients with the cone heads, you know, it almost looks like a hat.
Yeah.
Hat monument, but it's not, I mean, it doesn't look like a hat, but it is suggesting that shape. Do you, have you been to those sacred sites there in Portugal, the stone circles, things like that?
Yeah. I've been to several of them. But when I was younger, we used to go with school, you know, as part of, cool events and stuff like that. I've seen a few smaller versions of the Stonehenge, let's call it. I don't remember the word in English right now. I've seen burial places and all sorts of ritualistic places here in Portugal. We have a lot. I'll try to find the
I've heard
English. Because I know how they're called in Portuguese.
How are they called in Portuguese?
Antas.
Antas.
Yeah.
No.
Antas. And they were basically the
Did they have a lot of those in the town, near the town where you grew up?
yeah, a few. So Google says they're tapers.
Tapers. No, that's
Tape-
not it. You must have a special word in Portugal for it.
It's not a taper, right?
The exact stone circles or just ruins or what?
Is it a dolmen?
A dolmen is like when you have a big stone and then there's smaller stones holding it up.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, we have a lot of those.
Okay. Oh, you do?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we have a lot of those like that. Plus all sorts of castles, and Portugal is a really old country. We have a very big, it's big on history, medieval history. We have a lot of castles. We fought with Spain. We fought with France. There's a lot of past here. In my hometown, I live 2 minutes by the castle of my hometown. So basically, if I open the window of my house, I see the castle right on the other side of the street.
And it's medieval?
Yeah, it's medieval.
Yeah, that's what there's this guy, his name's Freddie Silva, and he's really into all the ancient sites and all of the, ancient technology and stuff like that. I know he was actually from Portugal too, so he was talking a lot about Portugal and, it's where the Knights Templar started from and the secret society.
Yeah,
and this and that.
exactly.
So it seemed very mysterious. So it's great that your work, it has, that in it. This is really gorgeous.
Thank you.
Did the AI make this?
Yes.
Wow. Does the AI make some ugly stuff and then you have to keep moving, or does the AI hit it every time?
No. It's basically, like how photographers say that they get one good picture in 100.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same with AI. You have to keep trying different prompts.
Yeah.
You have to find out what the best combination of words would be to get to the final result that I wouldn't say you imagine, because the AI, that's the fascinating thing about the AI. You will never get what you imagine. You will always get something so out of the box. That's why it's amazing.
That's fun. That is so fun. How much is this one? I want to buy it. I want it so bad. 0.05.
Right.
How much is that right now? Like $200?
I think it's $170.
$70?
$170, I believe. Let me see. 0.05.
I'm gonna get it, and then I hope you get really famous, and it'll be worth a ton. This is beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. God, I love this. What did you say to get this one, or what is this one called?
This one is called Mist Monument because it's really misty, and I think I used the prompt regarding volumetric light. So I used the prompt regarding volumetric light. That's why you see a lot of light everywhere.
Yeah, the light's incredible.
Right? And so basically the collection, because it's mysterious locations, I used the prompt of mysterious monument again, and then I just used so as I was saying, you have to know what to say to the AI result. So before I got to this result, I had to try countless different combinations of words and prompts, and then you have to click generate, and you have to wait to see what it comes up with. And I think the prompt that got me to this was something like volumetric light mist monument, something like that. I don't even remember that well anymore, because I've been doing so many in the past few days, because I have this collection that I'm working on for Halloween, which is kind of a surprise For now, it's listed, but it's not for sale yet.
Mhm.
And I don't want to reveal it
Mhm.
yet. But since this video, I don't know when it's gonna go live, so maybe we can go through it. And
Maybe in a couple of days. When is your I mean, I can always hold on to it until later. I can put it out later.
that's okay. We can see it anyways. So you can see that you can get a lot of different different art styles and aspects and all those sort of things with
This thing is
AI.
so amazing because it is like because I've been in a lot of sacred sites and a lot of pyramids all over different places, different countries, and I like this one. It reminds me of one somewhere that you go in, it'll be like pitch black dark inside, but this one is like you can go in. I mean, it's like a total wormhole because there's transparencies, but then there's but then there's not. Like it's really super cool. How did it know to do that? Or did it just do it on its own?
So this AI was fed millions of images. So basically what the scientists do, let's call it, is that they feed the AI, and this AI is a learning AI. So they feed it with countless of images, like a huge amount of images. And these images are cataloged. They have names, they have characteristics, and then the AI learns with them, kind of. So basically, if you wanted, I don't know, if you wanted to create something right now, you could say, for instance, Dali style painting of a house by the sea. Will do, and it will come up with something that is in Dali style. So
that's
basically
pretty cool.
So basically very surreal, of something with sea on it and a house somewhere by the sea. And you might get something really cool, or it might look totally off. So it's basically, it's trial and error, trying different combinations of words, different orders in which you set up those words on. There's a very specific way to write them as well, because you have to put some symbols in between so that it knows. And then you can put on weights, because, for instance, if you want a specific color, but you don't want a lot of color, you can just put red and then just 15, and it will basically use red on 15% of the photo, something like that, you know. This is a black.
Does the AI have like an inherent like aesthetic sense, you know, or
No, you can
sometimes make really ugly stuff?
It sometimes makes what people would call nightmare fuel. Sometimes it generates things that are so atrocious that people will just call it nightmare fuel.
Wow.
I don't know if you know the term, if you are aware with that term. Sometimes it just creates ugly things. That's why it's really hard to get to a result like this. You really have to try many times and learn the specific way to speak with the computer. And eventually it becomes kind of a second nature, I guess. Eventually it just comes up to you easier, because it's kind of like learning a new language. Basically, the way I would imagine it, which kind of like a dreamy way to imagine it anyways, is that you're learning to speak with an alien. Imagine something like that. You're learning to speak with an alien. At first, you have no idea what to say. You have no idea what you're gonna get. And both are trying to reach an understanding, right?
Yeah.
So you're speaking to AI and you're testing it, and you get this result, and it's really like mind-blowing. It's fascinating because you're like, whoa, it does this all on its own, kind of, right? Because it's a communion between man and machine, right? Because it wouldn't do anything if I didn't tell it to do it. But it did all that image on its own.
Really amazing.
But that image is not exactly pretty, or it's not exactly what you wanted. Maybe you asked for a red dragon blowing fire on a city, and for some reason the city is red and the dragon is on fire. I don't know. Sometimes it messes it all up. So it's really complicated. So what I started doing was I started isolating terms. So for instance, okay, let's try this combination of words, and then I'll see what I get. And then I change this one word, and I'll see what I get. And then I see what I get different, so that I know exactly why it changed. It changed because I changed this word. Because if you change the entire prompt and everything comes out different, you'll be okay, but why? Right? And then if you start doing it by increments, you're gonna start to get a grasp of why it changed this way.
If somebody knew the exact words that you were saying, could they get the same image?
As you can see, every one of those had a mysterious monument on it, but with different styles and everything. So basically you can see that the theme is there. So it understands what a mysterious monument is in a way. And it understands styles. As I said, if you find a different a famous painter that you like Picasso, you can tell it to draw something in Picasso style, and it will.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's amazing. All right, let's see what other ones we have. Do you want to show some of your Halloween, or should we? Well,
yeah, we can.
Send it to me, so you must want to show it.
Okay, so this one, I'm really, really proud of this one. I've created an entire world around this one. So this is the Grim Reaper. As you can kind of see, it has a pumpkin head because Halloween. You can see that it has the fight over there. And I tried to do it with the very dark, grim Victorian style. So you see that the clothes are all black, and they're all very heavy. But it's all very abstract, as you can see too, because you look at it and you can tell this was not drawn by a human. But at the same time, you can tell that something is there.
Issue. Wow. Let me see what else you have.
I have 42 pictures in that collection, and all of them have a tiny story. All of them have a tiny description that binds them all together in this small universe that I've created.
Wow, so you've created like a whole Halloween scenario.
Yeah, it's
like a whole metaverse, you know?
Yeah, exactly. This is a unhinged witch. I really love how her mouth looks. She looks like she's insane or something.
Yeah.
And she's playing with fire, apparently. So basically, I created a small story for her where she was caught in a witch hunt, and they tried to burn her alive, and she snapped. Somehow she escaped, and now she's for revenge, basically. So she's the unhinged witch.
Yeah, watch out, people. Let me see what else.
One of my favorite ones, that one, the ghost one, the ghost of a noble woman. That's the first one.
The first one.
Yeah, that's my favorite. I love it.
Oh, it's really awesome.
So that's a ghost of a noble woman. And in my story, she is roaming the halls of the library of the town of Rosenborg.
Where's that?
It's just a town that I invented.
Oh.
Yeah, for my small universe.
Wow, it's amazing. Wow, I love it. It's beautiful. Do you work in IT? Is that your background?
Yeah, I work in IT, but not as a choice, not as a passion, but as a,
Yeah.
I've had computers since I was very young.
Yeah.
Since I was a child, so it's a vocation of mine, but it's not a passion. My passion is art.
Yeah, you're really good. Oh wow, that's awesome.
Those are zombies, mangled.
Wow, look at the background and then colors. So I always used to do this in the beginning, but everybody hit the subscribe button, smash the likes, and also make a comment, because if everyone makes a comment, that's so good for the algorithm, and then more people are going to be able to see your video. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah, those are people being crucified. I know it's a bit of a dark theme, but that's what I wanted to convey. If you read the description, you understand what that means, what the image means. The description is there also to understand people, to help people understand and interpret it a bit easier, because it's very abstract at times. So it's just click on the page somewhere, and the description is right under the thumbnail. Oh, okay.
That's a different one. Oops. Let's do another one.
All right. So you see the description down there? Okay. So you can, I've created a small description for every picture. Okay. And it kind of ties them together in this small universe that I created.
Oh, interesting. You would think she's a seductress, but one touch of her hand will instantly melt a man's skin. So
she's a succubus.
Big oval.
This is the succubus.
Wow. Oh, that's really great.
Now, if you think that a computer made all of this with just words, it's fascinating, right?
It's amazing. And what kind of words did you say? Like fire, red? I mean, the lighting is so amazing. The amount of black.
Yeah, I gave it words like red. I gave it words like fire, succubus. And I gave it a few other words that I would like to keep them a mystery for now. Because you know, a magician should never tell all of this.
Exactly.
All of this trick.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to maintain some of the mystery so that people can appreciate it for what it is and not for how it was made, you know?
Yeah, of course. No, these are really striking images. And of course, we have the links below. You'll send me the links to everywhere people can see your work, and all of your Twitter, and everywhere you can be seen. Whoa, that's pretty intense.
That's the aftermath.
Whoa, yeah.
So basically what's going on is in this dark world, in Victorian ages, there's forces of evil, right? And there's good, let's say. So you have the witches, and you have the creed, you know, Catholic Church that doesn't like witches and wants to burn them all at the stake. You have vampires, you have werewolves, then you have vampire hunters that obviously work for the townspeople. And let's say that there's this chaos ongoing and destruction where humans are fighting the devil forces or something like that. I don't know exactly what to call them at the moment, but there's skeletons, there's zombies, there's even a Frankenstein monster that I've made. I've just tried to create something that really evokes the feeling of dark and grim Halloween.
Scary music came on. Sorry, that was my alarm.
So that's burning at the stake, as you can see, and that's what happens burn at the stake.
Wow. Wow, but that's such a powerful image.
Sorry?
Such a powerful image.
Thank you. Why do you think it's so powerful?
Well, because of the black, and I mean, just the image itself is so strong. It's a lot of black, but then there's also so much light and white. And then there's not a lot of colors, but then the colors, the red and the gray, like, so it makes the red and the black really pop. And then there's this like pile, you know, and you can see a little bit of a fire, and then you see this, you can tell it's a body, even though it doesn't look like a body, but just the way it shapes down like that. I mean, it looks like a piece of meat, basically. And so it just looks real and haunting. And then there's all these spires, you know, in the background that are very sharp and just very striking. And I have like a statue of Joan of Arc, like right there in the park where I live. Like I could see it from here. It's right there, and I'm really thinking of Joan of Arc. Like actually, I was really feeling like, oh my gosh, it feels so real. It's so funny because it's created by AI, but of any burning at the stake pictures I've ever seen, which isn't that many, but it looks more real than the other one where the face is there and they're like, ow, ow, you know, like it just looks real, I guess, because it's sort of charred remains and the person is not even, you know, alive anymore, and just looks really real for some reason, and really kind of hits you. That's what I was thinking when I first saw it. Was like, I really felt like, wow, these purple people that have been burned at the stake, like, wow, what that must be like, you know?
Yeah.
How many people were lost, you know, how many amazing people like Joan of Arc and other people. Whoa.
Exactly. Yeah. Those were dark ages. Those were complicated times to be a thinker and a philosopher.
Yeah. Hopefully we won't go back to them.
Yeah, hopefully not. That would be scary.
Wow. Now they just like zap you with a ray gun that you never see and nobody ever knows it happened. But anyway, wow.
Yeah.
It's really good.
You were really struck by that one, huh?
Yeah, it really hit me.
Really resonated.
It's very realistic. It's very realistic to me. I don't know why. Like, yeah, I think because it's not showing too much. You know, sometimes when you're leaving more to the imagination, it's
exactly. I'm so glad that you got to that point. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly the magic of it. Is that it all looks so surreal at the same time, so real. Because it leaves just enough for the imagination to complete the image, right?
Yeah, so when you're completing it, it's more real than if you're actually looking at an image.
Yeah.
You're gonna have like what did you call it? Like comida para pesadillas or something, like nightmare.
Yeah, nightmare fuel. Yeah.
Oh, we already saw this one, but I actually like this burning skeleton too, because it's pretty. It's pretty.
It's really good, right? Really striking.
You know, so it's not so upsetting because I mean, it is upsetting and scary, but at least lookable. Normally, I would not even look at stuff like this. I'd just look the other way.
Yeah, I understand.
Let's see her.
You already did. It's the unhinged witch.
Oh yeah, there she is. Let's see. Green.
Yeah. It's the Lich King.
Wow, that's extremely interesting.
So what do you see here?
Oh, I see a snake in his face.
Okay.
I don't know. You just see somebody that was like in a throne, like they were controlling, but then they got burnt up. And then maybe they transfixed into an animal or another creature.
It's basically a skeleton lord that is sitting at a throne. So it's kind of like a necromancer. He controls their skeletons with his magics.
Oh, he's a skeleton. Yeah, he definitely is like on the controls and controlling and
Right, because he's like sitting in the throne in a very powerful position, and at the same time very at ease, as in I'm in control.
Yes.
And in my story, he took control of the town's cathedral and desecrated it. And now he does the rituals inside of the cathedral.
This is very interesting. Okay, so how have you gotten into these stories? Like, what has, I mean, they're very interesting stories. Normally, I don't like dark stories, but like they're very interesting dark stories that seem a little bit realistic, even though it's like completely, well, fantasy or whatever, but it does seem like correlations, you know, in reality. How did you get to this point of making this collection? I mean, it's really intense and there's a lot going on. I mean, you're not just being like, I'm gonna make a scary monster. No, it's like there's a lot of thought and a lot of knowledge and history and contemplation behind the images.
Thank you. I appreciate all of the kind words. I can tell you that I spent a few days of barely sleeping.
Wow.
Because my mind was just racing with ideas. And I mean racing. I would try to sleep and I couldn't. I would go to sleep at midnight and wake up at 2, 3 a.m. and just come to the computer and start working again, because I just had to get the ideas out of my mind. And it was one of those nights where I couldn't sleep that I started thinking, I should make stories behind this, because okay, there's this inherent theme of Halloween to the images, but then these are just floating images, so they're just there, right? So in a way to create more of a cohesive collection, I created tiny stories that connect each piece to themselves, to this tiny universe that I've created, which is the town of Rosenberg. Then you can see there's an image on the collection of the town, and it explains a little bit of the life in the town. It mentions that the town used to be bustling with commerce and life, but now everyone is, the doors are all sealed shut and the windows are barred because, you know, dark times. And then you left. And then later on, I thought, okay, I have an image of the town. The town is mentioned, and the mayor is mentioned in the story as well somewhere, but I don't have an image of the mayor. So I decided, okay, then I'm going to make an image of the mayor. And so I did an image of the mayor of the town as well. So basically, the collection started evolving on its own because I created the images, and then I felt the need to create a story for the images. And then the story started to have a need for more images, you know what I mean? To make it all more complete and cohesive. So that I have also, there's an image that mentions the graveyard keeper. And then I decided, and I have to make the graveyard keeper. So I did an image of the graveyard keeper. And then I also made an image of the graveyard.
Wow.
And then I made an image of the catacombs, of the graveyard, and of the crypts, and something like that. And I gave them all. So I also mentioned I mentioned a cathedral that was lost to the Lich King, right? And then I decided maybe I should do bishops, and I also did a pope, and their skeletons.
More.
Skeletons.
Really amazing. So, like, it's really, so you have a whole, and it's basically, oops, wrong. It's basically, hold on, I got too much going on here at the same time. Wow. Wow, I love this guy. So he's in the cathedral and he's doing his work. Yikes. I mean, that's a lot of parallel to real life. No, that's pretty brilliant, really.
Yeah, you could kind of associate it to corruption if you want.
Yeah, any kind of corruption that's like, the mastermind behind the darkness, really. It's like the
Yeah,
Wizard of Oz, only like the opposite, the hidden person at the controls.
yeah.
Really amazing. Let me see. Who's he? See, now I want to know all the stories, but I have to actually go really soon and I want to drag it on, but it's really amazing. How are you going to explain all this to everyone? Have you,
Oh, oh, that's the mayor right there.
wow.
I give him a name as well. It's called Tarkis. I tried to make it so it has a monocle. I think it looks kind of like a monocle.
Yeah. Are these one of ones or?
Yeah, all of them are one of ones.
Oh, wow. Amazing. This is
And
really powerful.
that's the daughter, Yvette.
Sorry about the noise.
Oh, police is insane there.
City. Wow, she's pretty interesting. What is she like? Oh, thank you.
So much noise. Police, go away.
Yeah, it was the yeah.
So what were you what were
No,
you
I'm
going
just
to ask?
asking about her.
So I decided that I didn't have enough female characters, so I decided to make some, and I decided to make the daughter of Tarkus, which is Yvette. She also has a tiny little story. She was taught at home by the maids that they had, because they are filthy rich. So at the time, only men would go to school, and the girls would be taught at home by the what's the name of the head maid? I don't remember.
The governess.
The governess, exactly. So she was taught by the governess to be both clever, classy, and ruthless. So because she has money, she's also used to being around power and dealing with power. So she's also a very powerful character that shouldn't be messed with, let's say. She has influences, let's say.
Wow, this is amazing. So do you have a name that you call like your whole creation? Because I was interviewing this cupcake and honeybee 2 days ago. I haven't put their video up yet. I'll probably put it up tomorrow.
Okay.
But there was one famous NFT maker that was putting these short little animated things out, and then I guess it's like Hollywood bought it or somebody bought it. It's going to be made actually into a film. Like it's also a story,
Oh,
just curious.
I didn't know about it.
Yeah, so I'm just curious because you really have made such a complete story and amazing characters. So
Thank you.
I wonder where it will go. Should be like a Halloween classic. Like I would actually even like watch it. I don't like anything scary. But it's like it's so interesting that it's like, okay, I can watch it.
It could maybe be a book or something like that.
Yeah.
With illustrations. These would be the illustrations.
See, that's the thing about NFT. Somebody was saying earlier on one of these spaces, the guy was like, oh, I sold it and I made the NFT, but now can I put this print in a book? And it's like, yes, you can, because you own the image. And the more you print it up, the more valuable the NFT is going to be. You know what I mean? So you're never devaluing the NFT by reproducing in other formats. You're actually making the value of the NFT higher, if you did make a book or whatever.
That's a great idea, actually.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
sister is a writer. I should talk to her.
Yeah, because this is really, I mean, it's total genius, you know, like it's real art.
Thank
I'm an
you.
artist. I love art. I love art. And, you know,
I am I'm a good fan of H.P. Lovecraft. I don't know if you know the writer.
yeah.
He is basically credited with inventing horror and
Uh-huh.
influence here from reading some of his stories. So all of the cosmic horror stories that he wrote about and something like that. But I tried to make it more Halloween style because H.P. Lovecraft stories are more like demonic creatures from a different dimension and things the human mind. That's a very specific kind of horror, which is called the cosmic horror. And I didn't believe it to be as associated to Halloween as something like this. Because Halloween, if I believe the story of, we don't have Halloween here in Portugal, but if I believe Halloween has, if I believe Halloween had something to do with witch hunts at the time, I remember reading about the story of Halloween way back when. I'm actually gonna search for it right now.
Yeah.
Origin, and yeah, it dates back to the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, 2,000 years ago. Wow. Ireland, United Kingdom, France. They celebrated it. Okay. Yeah, but I remember it was something about scaring the devils away and something like that. That's why they would carve the jack-o'-lanterns.
Well, yeah, it's just this time of year is it's so dark. So it's like the veil between the worlds is the thing. It's, you know, it's just so much dark outside. Also. So I do like 8-minute ads on Zoom. I run my ads program, which I have to go to, but I like this piece and I really think your work is so interesting and that like it really reflects like where you're from. Like there's the ancient ruins and there's the medieval, you know, religion. So it's just interesting for me because that's not where I live. It's different. So I don't have these themes like deep inside of me. And so it seems like you really have
and it's interesting that you have that point of view because I'm the one that created this, right? And I don't have that point of view that you have. And it's interesting that you call me out on it because now I'm like, so yeah, you know, I'm a product of my society, I guess.
Yeah. So, yeah, because you're not going to notice it because it's so like normal.
Yeah, exactly. I was born.
Really fascinating. Like this is so, you know.
Are you a fan of Halloween? Are you a fan of Halloween?
Yeah, I love Halloween.
Do you dress up? Do you do something or?
Sometimes. Yeah, usually.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Halloween. It's one of it's the only holiday I like.
Oh, really? You don't like Christmas or something?
No, I don't like the other holiday. I mean, I like parts of it, you know, but it goes on too long. It's too, you know. No, I'm not really a huge holiday fan because I hate to be like made to be, you know, like, oh, we have to all do this now. Okay, no, we have to all do that. Now we have to do this. But Halloween is just so creative, you know.
Yeah. Do you when Halloween comes, do you sorry, I forgot the word. Do you embellish? No. Do you put all of those props outside of your house?
No, I live in an apartment. No, I don't do any of that. But I do satanic rituals. No, just kidding. I do rituals. No, I don't do rituals, but no, I mean, I'm not like a Halloween fanatic by any stretch, but I do like it.
Okay. And I can see paint as well. I would like to see something.
Yeah, you can interview me sometime if you want.
Okay.
That's what I have to do.
We can do a counter interview.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm a painter, sculptor, performance artist, and a medicine woman. I do ceremonies, but they're not dark. And so, I'm very.
You do. Sorry, I didn't understand. You do sermons?
Mhm.
Okay, so you're like you're religious then.
Yeah, like a shaman.
You're like a shaman. Okay, what kind of
Like a
is it like
medicine,
Wiccan?
like a medicine. No, like more a medicine woman, more like Native American, but
Uh-huh.
but it's a mix, because we're modern people, so it's just everything. Now, I'm not a Wiccan, but I mean, I do understand a lot of their concepts, and
Okay.
everything overlaps. Even in Christianity, even in Islam, even
Uh-huh.
there's so many overlaps in all of the different paths. But
So what would you call yourself? What you do? Is
I
it
don't
like
call I don't call myself. I call myself a medicine woman.
okay, so you're like a white magician or something like that.
No,
Like
it's
you
just a
perform
medicine
white magic.
woman, like a healer, like yeah, I mean, I could be that if I wanted to. I don't really do too much practicing now. I'm just really into you know, yeah, I do ceremonies like a medicine wheel ceremonies outside in nature, and
Okay.
energy healing, and earth healing. And I used to do a lot of remote healing in my mind. Visions, I can get visions, talk to the dead, whatever, pretty much anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this something that you do to clients, or is it something that you do to yourself?
No, I'm not really doing it at all at the moment, because it's not my thing at the moment. But yeah, I've done it with clients, and sometimes, yep, different stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, right now it's not like I'm very busy doing other stuff, and I'm not really that into it. Although, you know what I am gonna do? I think I am gonna start contacting with UFOs. I think I'll do that through meditation. I was watching this amazing show called Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind on with Stephen Greer. Stephen
Okay.
Greer. Yeah, and there's like a certain kind of meditation, and I'm like, I used to be afraid of aliens, although I have a lot of artworks of aliens. Like, I'm very connected with the other planets and whatnot.
All right. I remember in the 80s, I mean, in the 90s, because here in Portugal, the 80s, the American 80s, let's call it, the culture of the 80s of the Americans arrived to Portugal in the early to mid 90s. So I remember back then, when I was just a little child, thinking that we were going to be alive, and when we would still be alive when we would find the first alien, the first alien race, and we would contact them. And I really thought that was going to be a very big and important part of life. Turns out it was just a trend. And nothing really came of it.
I don't know. There's still time. Like, I'm not that into it, but I mean, I do like remote viewing, so I'm good at that kind of thing. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll do a little experimenting, because maybe the aliens can just help you with stuff,
What kind of stuff?
I don't know. To make good NFTs. I don't know, anything. Well, no, because the show is they have like a loving presence, and they can do healing. So I was like, well, maybe it would be just nice to have them as friends. It's been a long, lonely year, and I'm just gonna be friends with aliens now.
All right, that's a good idea.
I don't know. I just watch a show. I don't know if I have time to do it or how long it takes, but they used to try to contact me, and I have seen UFOs and aliens, but I was afraid of them. I'm like, all right, just leave me alone. I don't want to go there. But now I'm like, oh, okay. He was really saying how the fear of the aliens is really implanted, through the, basically from the CIA and all these people, through Hollywood. So that's why you have that fear factor.
All right. So it's like a.
They said it wasn't true. That guy's been dealing with aliens since the 70s.
Yeah.
He's like, there was never a scary encounter, because sometimes you hear when they take you on the ship and then they probe you. Like,
yeah,
that doesn't sound like fun. But
You think that the CIA knows too much and they do some sort of fear mongering to keep people from finding it?
Yeah, this movie is very good. It's on, I think it's pretty new, it's on Amazon Prime in the States. It was a documentary, and they explained why, which made sense, because how they would contact them was like through meditation and intention. So they would say, hey, aliens, come here and do this. And then they would get responses. Like sometimes the ship would be going away and it'd be like, oh, come back, and it would come back. So, and most of the aliens talk, with their minds. So it was part of what they said was that it's because they don't want people becoming too conscious or too aware of their abilities, because then people are going to kind of break out of the mental slavery and whatnot, So I thought, okay, well that makes sense, because before you're like, well, why would they make it,
so secretive.
Yeah, I don't know, but I thought it would be fun to give it a try and see what happens. It's apparently easy enough.
Yeah, let us know how it goes. I'm curious.
I will. I'm gonna draw pictures of aliens after that. But
okay. So
I like aliens. I like Halloween. That's why I like your stories. It's very like in the back reaches of the mind and zombies and things that. Yeah. I mean, do they exist or don't they? Maybe they do. Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe they used to exist, and we just they went extinct because they were hunted.
Well, exactly. That's what Native Americans say. Like the Bigfoot exists. It's just in another dimension. So that's why you can only see it, certain times, when it comes into this dimension.
Huh. Interesting. Never heard that.
The Native American lore of the Bigfoot. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Do you have Native American blood, or it's just something that you're connected with?
Yeah.
You do? Nice.
I think most people that have lived in America for a while, like if your family's been here for some generations, has this blood, I think that's my thing, is that any like families that have been here more than a few hundred years, like we all have some African, we all have some Irish, and we all have some Native American, because people have been falling in love forever, and people have been falling in love with, whoever happens to be nearby. So
exactly. Yeah, that makes sense.
But thank you so much. Do you have any one last thing you want to say before we end?
Anything else that I would want to say? No, just the collection is probably going to be released somewhere near Halloween, and I'm really hoping that people will see it for what it is, the same way that you did. It's not just a collection of images, but it has an entire concept behind it that is the glue that puts it all together.
This is really amazing. I gotta look at it one more time.
Okay, go ahead.
It really is. I keep hitting the wrong one. So powerful. This work is very, 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 very powerful, very amazing. I'll go see the green.
I would like, okay. And that's the graveyard.
Wow.
I use the greens. Funny enough, do you know that in Disney movies, the evil guys, when they're doing some sort of evil magic, it's always this sort of green. So that's why I went to.
Good work. Good work.
Right? Because it's kind of imprinted in our minds that green means evil.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. And also you have a little bit of your monuments there. They're being, the shapes are making their way into your Halloween. Wow. No, this is really fantastic. I'm so glad that you came and let me interview you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, you'll have to come back whenever you have a new collection, come back, or if you want to just talk about anything, because those are really fascinating and really interesting. And
thank you.
Yeah, congratulations, and thank you so much. I'm going to hit the record off.